I started buying silver in 64 when I was 17 because of Gresham's law. Gresham's law says when bad money enters the system, good money goes into hiding. So when I was 17 in 1964, they started debasing our dimes and quarters and half dollars. So there was a copper tinge around it. And I didn't know anything, but Gresham's law does apply because immediately I didn't trust my dimes, quarters, and half dollars. And I started going to the bank and turning in dollars, paper dollars, and getting rolls of dimes, quarters, and half dollars. And I'd pull out the real silver. And I'd put the copper silver back in there. And then I go back to the bank and kept trading. It kind of made my point that poor people don't know good money from bad money. That's the biggest problem. My mom and dad had no idea why I was running back and forth to the bank as a kid, high school kid, turning in fake paper money, because the real subject here, it really is QE infinity. I don't think the banks can turn back. They have to keep printing. And the question is, what are you going to do? Gold, silver, or crypto, or Bitcoin, or Ethereum? Because we've got to know good money from fake money. What's Harry's latest prediction now?
About 3 months ago, Harry gave an interview on Stanbury Research and said that he's expecting the stock market to collapse by 40-50% by April. Well, here we are in the last week of April, and so far that hasn't happened. And I think your assistant in the break said that his new forecast was going to be June, July. The stock market's going to collapse. Now, so what I would say is that in the absence of the money printing, Harry would be 100% correct. So I've never sort of said that a deflationary depression is off the table. But where I think Harry has got it wrong is, I did an interview with him here in Sydney in 2018, and I asked him, well, why can't the central banks continue to print to infinity? And he basically said that there will be voices in the market, there'll be political opposition to the central banks, and that opposition is going to stop hyperinflation, the QE to infinity type scenario that we have now. And that opposition is going to prevent them from saving the bubble, and that's how the bubble collapses. Well, I think we're going to see more of an inflationary situation moving forward compared to in terms of deflation. I know we're about to get into this conversation about gold, silver, and crypto, but what I would say to your audience is portfolio allocation changes so dramatically compared to if you believe deflation's coming, your portfolio allocation would be dramatically different compared to if you believe that we're going to have some sort of inflationary outcome.
I don't know if the Perth Mint is your competitor or what, but what is the rumor about them not having enough silver?
Sure. So now one thing I will say is that we are actually an approved distributor for the Perth Mint. So we have a number of sources where we obtain product, gold and silver, and the Perth Mint, that is one of them. So in the context of the Perth Mint, I've been on a bit of a campaign starting last year, largely about what I call synthetic gold and silver. These sort of products are things like unallocated, pool allocated accounts, I probably could spend the next hour with you telling you about what's happened with the Perth Mint. But we started to hear a range of stories late February, early March, of people not being able to buy silver at the retail level in Perth from the Perth Mint. We also heard stories of wholesalers not being able to buy large amounts of silver from the Perth Mint, even though they said on record that they have 60 tons available for sale. We as Good as Gold Australia, we got told that starting at the 1st of March, we cannot place any order on the Perth Mint for any sort of order because they were running short of silver. But also we started to hear a range of stories around customers who had unallocated or pool allocated accounts, particularly in silver, standing for delivery, and there was a commitment by the Perth Mint, according to their website, to deliver in 10 days, and they just could not deliver in 10 days. And on the one hand, they said that they had the silver, but they had a manufacturing and fabrication problem. If you buy silver or gold and you have it so you buy the physical and someone holds it for you, in the American context, that's called allocated and segregated, whereas here in Australia it's called allocated. Now, in the context of the Perth Mint, unallocated is so technically you don't own any silver, but you own a promissory note. But what you have, but in buying a promissory note, you buy an interest in the working capital of the Perth Mint.
Which is a better buy today, gold, silver, or crypto?
Well, in terms of my portfolio, so I don't own any crypto. And in terms of
why is that? Why is that?
Well, probably three key reasons. The first is that we have a 5,000-year history with gold and silver, and cryptos have only been around for 10 years, or about 10 to 12 years. So we don't know if we had a really systemic financial crisis, well, what's going to happen to cryptocurrencies? We don't really know. So I think that there's a lot of risk, a lot of market risk that a lot of people in the sector don't really understand, because we've never gone through that situation before. That's point one. Point two is that the number one reason why people are buying cryptocurrencies is because it's going up. But one thing I like to do when I allocate capital is I like to get a very deep technical understanding of what I'm actually doing. And for example, Robert, if you gave me the code for Bitcoin versus Ethereum versus Litecoin, etc. Now I'm an economist, but I'm not a cryptologist. So I can't tell you at a technical level what do these codes actually do, and what are the differences, and what are the risks, and what are the opportunities. And I would say 99.9% of crypto investors are not cryptologists, and they do not understand these underlying computer codes, what they actually do. And the only reason why they're buying them is because the price is going up. And if you don't actually understand at a technical level what these codes do, well, you don't actually understand the risk of the asset. So that's point two. Now, point three is, so the funny thing is, I did a seminar in Adelaide last week with As Good as Gold Australia, and in the Q&A, I actually had a question about crypto, and I actually asked the audience, and there was about 140 people in the audience, and I said, well, how many people here tonight actually own cryptocurrencies? And about half the audience put their hand up. And I said, how many of you actually understand that in 1996, the National Security Agency in the United States wrote a white paper for MIT about cryptocurrencies? And only one person put his hand up. And so the real question I have is, well, who was Satoshi Nakamoto? I mean, because I dare say it could well be the American government is behind the whole cryptocurrency phenomena. Now, I've got some different theories as to why that is, but a lot of people, again, haven't looked into the history of cryptocurrencies. They don't know that the NSA wrote a white paper about this. And again, I think there's much more to the crypto story than what the average American or the average Australian investor are fully aware of.
I'm a trader in crypto. I'm not an investor. So
I gotcha.
Do you know what I mean? So when it dropped to 7,000 a coin, I got back in. So still, I'm in the money quite a bit right now. And I know it can go to zero also. So I'm well aware of that. Whereas gold and silver are God's money. So I have lots of gold and silver.